Hello Bookish friends, welcome to the August wrap-up part 2. In this video I will talk about the 5 books that I finished in the second half of August, and like I did in my previous wrap-ups, I will insert the clips that I've recorded very soon after I finish those works. Today is the 19th of August and I finished the book that I was reading for Garbaugust, Meet Me in Istanbul by Pamela Kent. And Pamela Kent is one of the pseudonyms of legendary category romance author Ida Polak. In this book we follow a gay who is living in Istanbul with her stepfather in a home with every kind of luxury. But she wanted to get away from it because she thinks that she is mistaken for the daughter of Orhan Bey's late wife. Gay was in the same plane with the stepdaughter, and she was the only survivor of the crash. So even though she is treated very well by Orhan Bey, she felt that she was in a trap and she wanted to escape at all costs. So she enlists the help of Charles Villiers, who's a fellow English citizen living in Istanbul for the time being, and also a quite well-known archaeologist. And this request launches her into a series of extraordinary adventures. Just after I finish this vlog, I will record a Turkish shelf video describing more about this book and how it is relevant with the living in my country. In this vlog, I want to say that I kind of liked the fact that this was not a total romance book like the ones that were written in 1950s and 1960s. So I guess this was a pioneer of romantic suspense novels. Although I was not very fond of the hero, Charles, I quite liked the heroine and how brave she was. And the mystery surrounding Gay's real identity was the thing that kept me quite interested in this book. And I like the fact that Turkey in the late 1950s were described so positively. Overall, I gave Meet Me in Istanbul by Pamela Kent a 7 out of 10. Today is the 23rd of August and I finished the book that I was reading for more than a month, which was A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mistry. Read this book for the Fear of Missing Out book club hosted by Jack and Gemma. This book takes place in 1975 India. The government has just declared a state of emergency and we follow 4 strangers, a spirited widow, a young student uprooted from his idyllic hill station, and 2 tailors who have fled the caste violence of their native village. And they are forced to live and work together in a shared one-cramped apartment belonging to the widow. And those 4 characters move from distrust to friendship, and from friendship to love. This book has taught me a lot about the emergency state in India in 1970s. And I never knew that there was such a violence. The subject of semi-forced sterilization is a practice that I was very unfamiliar with. The writing style of the book was quite good. There could have been less detail in some of the side stories. However, I have to admit, it made me understand the situation much more. In many of the reviews written for this book, readers have suggested that the writing style of this author resembles Charles Dickens, and I agree with that suggestion because I also find some of the details of Charles Dickens quite unnecessary when reading it. But of course, Charles Dickens also writes quite emotionally and has a compassion for all of his characters, and they are all complex, which can absolutely be said for Rohinton Mistry as well. I especially like the characters and the dynamic between the Taylor duo, who are also uncle and nephew. So I have to give a content warning because the book is very pessimistic and has quite devastating details, which is actually the reason why it took me so long to read it. But overall, I'm very glad that I've read this book, and I gave A Fine Balance by Rohinton Mistry, an 8 out of 10. Today is the 25th of August, and I finished the audiobook that I was listening for Garbaugust, which was Wedded, Blintz by Leighan Dobbs, a book belonging to Lexi Baker Cozy Mystery series. In this book, Lexi is about to get married to her boyfriend, Jack. In the wedding dress rehearsal, she gets into an argument with an old friend who seems to have ordered a very similar wedding dress. And when she comes back to the designer's shop to have the dress altered, Lexi finds out that the designer and the other bride has been murdered. I think there exist some books that are written just to bring a smile to the reader's face. And the books in Lexi Baker's series, I think, belong to this category. Lexi is quite a likable heroine. However, I really do love the Little Detective Club founded by Lexi's grandmother and her friends at the retirement house. And in their scenes, I keep thinking that a spin-off series featuring Nan would be great. Aside from the cuteness of the book, the mystery was quite decent in this one. And of course, it was great to see Lexi and Jack getting married. And I'm really wondering how the series would take a turn as a married couple. So overall, I gave Wedded, Blintz by Leighan Dobbs a 7 out of 10. It is the 27th of August, and I finished the book that I was reading for Roll the Dice TBR Challenge. I rolled one which corresponded to a TBR Wedded book. I chose to read Düşlerde, Kalan, Girit-Eleni by Ferda, Bozoklar, Ardalı. In this historical fiction book, our heroine goes to Crete to learn about her grandparents' original land. Our heroine's grandparents came to Izmir from Crete at the end of the 19th century, after Greece became the owner of the land following the Ottoman Empire. And grandparent Gemma has written a diary describing his time in the island Crete up until he was 21. And as our heroine visits some historical and significant places in the island, she remembers a related passage from her grandfather's diary, and those passages are mostly about Gemma's first love, daughter of the non-Muslim neighbor Eleni. My family, coming from Crete in 1920s, this book and especially the structure of the family felt very familiar to me, and I really liked the diary entries by grandfather Jamal and his relationship with non-Muslim neighbors and of course Eleni. But I found the connection between the present timeline and the past timeline quite weak, and the ones that had a connection felt a bit forced, so the book did not read very organically, but I quite enjoyed some parts of the book. I gave Düşlerde Kalan Girit-Eleni by Ferda, Bozoklar, Ardalı a 6 out of 10. Today is the 31st of August, and in the last day of the month I finished the book that I was reading for my Turkish shelf books list, which was Sıcağı, Summer Heat by Defne Suman. In this book we follow Melike, a 40-year married art historian who's asked to be the guide of director of a documentary about the historical places in Istanbul. She goes through the historical places. She remembers the details about her childhood years spent in both Istanbul and also in Bodrum with her father and her grandmother, her father's mother. And she misses her days with her because her grandmother has passed away and her father has left their family. She also feels very attracted to Petro. And after a passionate night together, Petro confesses that he came to Turkey to find Melike and tell her that her estranged father has been dying and he wished to speak with her. The Silence of Scheherazade by Defne Suman is one of my favorite historical fiction books, and I was quite eager to read this one. I quite liked this book. I thought the mystery surrounding the family's separation was handled very decently. Defne Suman writes the emotional and also the historical settings very impressively. I think she has a great writing style, but I have to admit I find it hard to like Melike because of her unfaithfulness to her husband. But as the familial relationships took over the story, I felt a lot for her. I really wanted the best for her. I will make a more dedicated Turkish shelf video about this book in the following months. But overall, I can say that this was a very decent historical fiction book with two equally interesting timelines. I gave Yaz Sıcağı, Summer Heat by Defne Suman an 8 out of 10. So those were the 5 books that I finished in the second half of August. Please comment down below, have you read any of the books that I mentioned in this video, and what did you think of them? If you're a new viewer, first of all, welcome. Please like and subscribe. Hope to see you very soon. Bye. For Turkish word of the day, I'm going to choose Blintz. Blintz means puf böreği in Turkish, and puf böreği are our Turkish words of the day. Have a good day.